This is the reason I have to go through this here and reiterate and tell you the truth where we're going. Because as long as Satan have a weapon to fight us with, he's gonna fight us with that weapon. But we ourselves can make a choice to take that weapon out of his hand. If we take and we stop and call on God and stop using drugs just because that man put the drugs in your neighborhood, it don't mean you got to use. It doesn't matter how many threats he makes to you. If you take that weapon out of his hand, the drugs and the alcohol that he defiles you with, if it's even ice water that's causing you to do things you got to do, don't use it no more. If something that causes you to be out of control, even if it's a prostitute, don't use her no more. Anything that Satan used against you as a weapon to defile you, don't use it no more. We got ministers molesting young men, ministers molesting young women. The mindset is to use the word of God to gain something to defile them even more. So anyway, if this is what it is God was talking about, the tree to being unfruitful, that was among the seed that's planted among thorns. Even though you could be a minister saying you coming in the name of the Lord, you can be dressed in sheep clothes, but not of sheep. You can be raven wool. These are the thorns that the seed was planted in, and these are the solid the rock that they was cast upon. But the good ground upon which the seed of God, the revelation of God is spoke, they are known by the fruit they bear. And all that hear the word of God and acknowledge the word of God, they become fruitful because they is God's elect. But the man that sit and go to the minister, and that minister have a defiled mind, he is carrying the word of God. He is not of God. He is a raven wolf, even though he speak unto you against the transgression. But when you is gathered under his wing, he's twice as bad as the transgressor, and it makes your sin worse than it was before. Therefore, you must know who you is among until these later times, that you would know them by the fruit they bear. If a man proclaim him to be a godly seed of God, a godly minister of God, and come to you and you go to him for a compromise in your time of need, and he leads you into a path of destruction, you must flee from that man. There's troubled waters all around us. There's revelations of time that we will become a witness to, even though we are not accustomed to them. These revelations of time which will come upon us, it will devour and it will destroy us. In the name of peace, in the name of salvation, it will lead us into eternal destruction. These are not my words. These are the words of the living God. Now, why? I said, doorpost moved at the voice of him that cried. They had a reason. The fire burned my house. That's what Jesus telling us. God telling us in Isaiah chapter 6:4. He telling you my house is fire burned. They had to have a reason to fire burn my house. They had to have a reason to fire burn. You just don't go and kill nobody, try to kill nobody, fire burn the house. Let me show you where the reason was. It said, and the post of the door moved at the voice of him that cried. Then said I, woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips. Unclean lips mean you're addicted to cocaine. You done something you got no business. And I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips, for my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Okay. After this minister on the job told me that God had sent him after me, and I rejected him and told him he came to me so many times till he became annoyed. I was working for the railroad. I told him, when I get ready for God, you'll be the first to know. Well, God caused an ice storm to come to Pine Bluff, and I had a career in an injury. And after that career in an injury, I was off work, and I was having problems at my house with my wife. She was going and coming and prophesizing against my destruction. I'm gonna leave it right there for this moment. But I didn't have nobody in my house, so I was dwelling. I became addicted to cocaine. Some way and somehow I became addicted. And I was found myself among those people that I have taught against these things. And done so, once I became addicted to cocaine, I saw that this cocaine was nothing used to make money off it. It ain't never was and never will. And they use this stuff to exterminate our peoples, the black race. When I saw this, I told these people that when I come up, they better come up with me because I ain't gonna let this stuff defile me. Well, as I tried to get out of this here, and they sit and try to fabricate a lie toward me, pretending I was a drug kingpin. This was the word that got back at me. In other words, I was near 50 years old, and they was going to take the rest of my life by giving me a life sentence, the United States of American justice system, for 50 years. And by me living the hard life that I live, and at the 50 years they would give me as a sentencing, they would try to make me make a covenant with death in hell and serve a god of Satan, serve Satan. I saw this was not going to work, and so my outcome, the time that I went to God and I cried to Him and told Him to take my life because I didn't want to live no more, because I would rather spend that 50 years that they was going to give me to lie and say I was a kingpin. I would rather spend that 50 years in the grave, not behind the American prison walls. You can see this here. I had a hard time coming up. We worked and we served as slaves as the United States of America, but they used the substance of drug to take and contaminate us. They brought it over here for that purpose, to control and do us according to their will. And when I cried to God and told Him to take my life, and I know my transgression because I had told that minister who He sent after me, I told him when I get ready for God, you'll be the first to know. So that's when God began to tear my hedges around me and drove me to that ditch. Because when you read the rest of Isaiah chapter 6, a part of, you see God drove me there, but He took and put the coals of fire on my mouth and told me, this have taken your addiction away from you. So as God began to move me out of harm's way, which they set before me as my destruction to give me 50 years in the penitentiary, I was all about 50 years or almost 50 years, I would have died in prison. So when He did this here, and I was moving away, and He was moving me away, they sit and try to kill me in my house to a firebomb, which they threw between the doorposts. And the doorposts moved. The only way the doorpost is going to move at the house, it's got to be either a firebomb or caused by a terrible tornado or earthquake or something. And they were telling you that the firebomb was thrown between my doorposts. And that's where it was thrown, between my doorposts. Here's the sound. Look how my house was. And the house was filled with smoke. And I woke my wife and my daughter up, who came back and told her, we got to get out of here. Somebody firebombed the door. So once we came out, this was the part of that. In brief, in retrospect, I talked to you this in the past moment, but I have spoken it so many times, and I know what God did.